So finally a recent Vinyl Finds video, and this time it's gonna be all like psych, prog, rock, heavy blues, stuff like that. Not jazz. Let's just call it that. A non-jazz sort of recent Vinyl Finds video on Q Music. And as usual, subscribe if you haven't, and give a thumbs up so this spreads to even more suckers out there who spend their hard-earned cash on records. I actually have one or two really rare records to show you these in this video, so I think it's going to be a nice ride. I'm going to start off with one that I've had on my want list for a while. This is Frumpi. German krautrock band, they say. By the way, 1973. So this is the third and I think last record, because they put out a live record. But this is the last sort of studio record that they put out, and it's actually the worst one of them. But the first two is really good, and this is okay. It's on the Vertigo labels. This is a Vertigo Swirl sort of original press of this. Compared to the first two, this is not as heavy organ driven as the other ones. This is more guitar driven and a little bit poppy, actually. Inga Rumpf, which is or was the singer of Frumpi, had a little bit more to say, unfortunately, and in this case it didn't go as well as the first two records, in my opinion. But she has a fantastic voice, and she sings like angel on crack on this one. Okay record, recommended. The next one is also one that I've been after for quite some time, and it's also a rarity. It's hard to find a copy of these days, and it's not a perfect copy, but it's one that I can live with. This is Clowns with Nuova Idea. Actually the first one, I haven't heard the other ones. This caught my attention obviously because of the fantastic cover artwork many moons ago, and I actually gave a Italian guy an offer, and he accepted, and here we are. This is one of the sort of the best heavy progressive Italian records that I've heard. It's sort of organ drenched, but there's also screaming guitars and tight sort of drumming, and it has all the elements of the sort of the progressive Italian records that we love. Okay singer, and all sung in Italian. Great record, highly recommended. Check it out if you don't know what it is. Clowns, Nuova Idea, on the Italian Ariston Progressive label, and as you can see, there's a little old fella. Yeah, this next one is a hidden gem in the Swedish sort of jazzy progressive catalog, and this is so underrated. It's insane. This is Opus and Friends, and it's a rare record on Sonnet, 1969, I think. It's a trio record, and they invited a lot of guests, sung in English, and it's a little bit of that sort of poppy jazz prog from back in the day. And Janne Schaffer is playing guitar on this, and he's playing some of the best guitar that he has ever played. And he has this sort of smooth guitar sound on this that reminds me more about Jojje Wadenius than Janne Schaffer, and Jojje Wadenius played on Made in Sweden records. So it's a little bit of that sort of snakes in the hole sort of sound. A few years ago, this was a rare record that you had to pay a lot of money for. Nowadays, you can find this for maybe like 40 euro if you're sort of looking, and or if you're lucky. I got this for 20 euro because I'm persistent. but that's a great find. But I think you can score this for 40, and it's worth 40 every day in the week. When this is rediscovered, this will skyrocket in price, because there was not many pressed. I can't imagine many being pressed. Opus and Friends. Opus 3 and Friends. Okay, the next one is one that I've had on my want list for so long, but it's a US private pressed, so it's not often that it turns up in Sweden. This is Randy Holland with Catmind, his one and only record. It's a loner folk record, private pressed, as I said, and this is a gem. One foot in the sort of the countries on the countryside, and one foot in the bluesy side. It's a weird sort of yeah, gem, really. And I paid €10 for this. €10. And you can find this for that price. And I don't know how many was, I mean, pressed. This is a private pressed record. There can't be many records. It's not like they sold as much as Led Zeppelin 2, is it? And it's a fantastic record. Just look at that cover artwork. Look at it. And sure, it gets a little bit sort of cheesy at times. It's not a 10 out of 10, definitely not. But for €10, I mean, this guy had no big production sort of company in his back and famous producer, well-known producer. It's just him naked, like, and he produced this record in 1973 too. Insane. If you see it, get it. Okay, the next one is a reissue from 1997 of a 1972 folk record. Yeah, I say folk, not acid folk. I don't think it's acid folk anyways. This is Dawnwind with Looking Back on the Future. And the original artwork looks like this. So, nothing at all like, yeah, definitely not. I wish I had the original press because this is fantastic folk. Really fantastic folk. Highly recommended. Check this out. And even this sort of reissue from 1997 is pretty rare. So it's going to be hard to find the original. But this is fast growing to be one of those records that I'm going to hunt for a little bit more than others. Okay, going back to some sort of rare record again that was on my want list. I mean, I have Scott Walker 4, and I think that is the record with Scott Walker that I have played the most. I have a shitty reissue on Four Men with Beards, and I hope to find an original one day. But when the opportunity rose to get an OG UK press of Scott 3, I didn't hesitate. I bought it right away. It was a great price, so I bought it. This is probably the best Scott Walker record. If you had to, gun to your head, choose a record from his catalog. And I mean, Scott Walker, he was decades before any other artist in the sort of the industry back then. And I don't think that fully anyone has really came close to Scott Walker, even to this day. And the stuff he did with Sun O and Bish Bosh, the last record that he produced, is just mind-boggling good, and it's the music for the future. I mean, this is fantastic. My favorite tunes is probably It's Raining Today, 30th Century Man, and maybe Big Louie, but I could pick any of these, I think, and there's not a bad track on this one. Check it out if you don't know Scott Walker and Scott 3. Okay, the next one is Steamhammer, Mach 2. They released 4 records, and this is the second one. The only one that I have actually in my collection. Great record, progressive, heavy blues sort of thing. Released in 1969, and yeah, it's great. It's not a masterpiece by any means, but I think that another traveling tune, the long ass 16-minute song that you have on a B-side is the best one on this one. English band. Did I say that it was an English band? Yeah, I think so. On CBS. It's raining today. Gordon Love. Okay, the next one is sort of a folk gem from Canada. This is Prism with Gordon Love featuring Laurel Ward. And I don't think that he did much more than this actually, but it's one of those sort of Acid Archives favorites that you see in a bit of rotation out there amongst collectors. Great one. It's a folk record of the usual stuff, heartbreak and loss and all of those, but it's well packaged, I think. Yeah, good produced, great songs. Highly recommend it. Prism, if you're into that sort of the folk sound, acid folk sound. On Yorkville, 1967. Okay, my battery died, so continuing on, Edward Bear Bearings, also Canada, 1969. And this is one that I have read about in different psych sort of books. and on the internet or something like that. I don't know, but great one. Not every song is fantastic, but I recommend songs like "You, Me, and Mexico," for instance. It's sort of a pop psych record, to be honest, but you can find this for like $10 or something like that. Yeah, and I highly recommend this record for that price. It's a nice little gem. Of all the records that I show you today, this is probably music-wise my favorite record. It's been spinning constantly since I got it, and when I haven't spun it here at my home, I stream it digitally. I play it in my car. I play it at work. I've been playing so much that my like sort of merged Spotify account that me and my wife shares. Some playlists actually have these songs on it, just because it's like recommended from my side of my Spotify account. Okay, fuck it. The thing I'm talking about is this: the Fort Mudge Memorial Dump, self-titled record. Probably the best band name known to band, in my opinion. 1969. No, 70 on Mercury. Looks like that. And this swings. This is really, really awesome. The bassist is from another planet. The first 3 songs is all masterpieces, and I have to say, like, the entire record is just fantastic. Female singer, and she really gives Grace Slick and Inga Rumpf a run for their money. She is fantastic, really soulful sort of, and heavy voice. Really, really good. This is the only record that they made. And it's a shame, because it would be nice to hear more from this band. Highly recommended, a 10 out of 10. Okay, 3 more to go. I say the best for last. This is also one that I found really cheap. It's Laurie Zimmerman, a Canadian singer-songwriter, and the only record that she released as a solo artist. It's released on a very small label called Crescent Street. They only released 3 records, so this is as privately pressed that any record could be. It's a gem. There's a few tracks that's just so, but there's not a dull moment, I should say. And the standout tracks is really, really good. Especially, you should check out, let's see here, Biding My Time and Paint Me a Picture. Definitely, and she does a pretty good cover version of Jack Bruce's theme for an imaginary western. And look at that cover. Great cover artwork. She was actually in a Canadian band, a prog or psych band called Life. That's been on my want list forever, and it's really hard to get. This is not an expensive record at all, but it's pretty hard to get your hold of if you're an European. I think I got this from an Italian dude. So yeah, solid record, highly recommended. One of those sort of lost records. And Acid Archives record, if I'm not mistaken. So one of the really rare ones that I found recently, and I actually did an entire video of this. So go back if you haven't seen that one, and I'll do the entire history of sort of how I got this and what it is and stuff like that. Obviously, everyone knows about this. This is Velvet Underground and Nico. 1967, I think, original press was released, and as you can see here on the back side, it's the airbrushed version, not the torso version, but it's an unpeeled banana. What this is a German first press, and it came the year after. The record is pressed in Germany on Verve, but the sleeve was an export from the US, so all the cover artworks were sent to Germany from the States. It's in great condition, the record, and the banana is intact. It's one of those records that, I mean, this will never ever leave the collection, as long as I don't find an equally good record, but with the torso cover. But after 10 years of hunting this, I can finally stop hunting. I would have to stumble upon a copy of a torso record to even consider like buying it. Masterpiece, iconic record, finally in the collection. Okay, so 1972, and I think that this is definitely sort of a grail for especially krautrock collectors out there. And I'm super glad to have it. I had a reissue, sounded good, but when the opportunity arrived and I was able to score a original first German press, I didn't hesitate. Especially when Tobbe, collector's friend here in Sweden, offered this to me for a great price. So thank you again, Tobbe. He had a second copy of this. He found a slightly better copy, and this is in great shape. So. This is Can with Egbam Yasi 1972 on United Artists' first German press with the original insert. I don't know if you can see that, but you have the track listing like Sing Swan Song, Vitamin C, Spoon, all those great songs, and sort of the personal on the back side. And on the famous United Artists label, as I said, in great shape. So so stoked to have an original press of this. So now I have a second press of Tagomago, and I have a first press of this. And I just need a first or an early press of Future Days, and I think that my sort of my core can collection is safe, because those three are my favorite can records. So thanks again, Tobbe, for providing me with this one. And that's actually it. If you haven't subscribed, do it. You know what to do. And I'll talk to you in my next video. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.